Okay, in the second exercise, we're going to work with lifting out wet color. So once again, using light to darker colors, you will be, you'll need a paper towel. I've kind of folded this, so I don't want it to be round and bunchy. I kind of want lines in the paper towel. Think about the colors of rocks, shades of gray to black or shades of tan to umber. So you're free to use whatever color you want, but those are some of the standard rock shapes. And you'll want some flat paper towel to cover the other areas of your painting. That will be a separate step. And these are just noted what the 1 and 2 will be. Grays can be pain gray, neutral tint. You also, if you have neither of those, for a gray or a dark color, burnt sienna, ultramarine, or you can always mix yellow, red, and blue, and you'll get a gray. I would mix that on the palette. So back again to either mix your values on the palette or on the paper, for your shadows to be at the bottom of your rocks. I'm going to start off with this one, probably with the sunlight coming the same way. You will want a number 8 and a number 10 round. The 10 round will be used for splattering. And I'm going to start off, I'm going to just be using probably Payne's Gray and maybe some burnt sienna. So once again, a light wash of Payne's Gray. Pulling my colors down along with the fuzzy that you can see on my paper. If you don't get your color perfectly right, don't worry about it. Okay, so then we're going to, our second layer would be the, I'm going to go in with a little bit of the burnt sienna and the Payne's Gray. I mixed it on the palette and probably, ooh, it's really dry today. Let's get back in there. Okay, I did re-wet that just so that the colors will move some. So then with the paper towel folded like that, you just want to go in and you can lift out some highlights. So then what I'd probably do is go back in with a darker Payne's Gray, and probably while it's still wet, try to accentuate some of the highlights and also to throw in some depth here at the bottom. And then I'm just going to go in with my burnt sienna and drop that in. And you can go back in with your clear water brush. And if you didn't really like the highlights, you could go back in with your clean towel again. And And back into some Payne's Gray. Thinking that it would be darker over here. Okay. So I'm going to do another one here. I'm going to use probably the yellow ochre, and I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to do, let me make a note, I'm going to do it as the sun coming the same way. I'm going to do a wet on wet and continue to keep it wet throughout. So clear water wash, wetting the rock shape. Now that it's starting to get warmer in the houses, everything is drying so much faster. So probably a deeper value of the yellow ochre. If you want, you can hold it up a little bit, move it around. Dropping in some of that burnt sienna. I'm going to try to get some of it going darker down here so that when we drop in the darker shade, okay, so here again I have folded the towel so it's folds, not a ball, and I'm going to go in, and you can just lift up some random highlights on your rock. Go in with a little, go use some of the pure burnt umber, and that's moving around nicely. And a little bit of ultramarine just to set that down some, add a little more shadowing, color differences. Okay, now I'm going to do the third one. Let's see what color. And this one will be wet on wet also, with the light coming from the right. I'm going to try these colors again. So it would be the Payne's Gray and then the burnt sienna. And go in, like I mentioned before, we're going to do the wet on wet. So we're wetting the rock. So when I do this and the paper is so wet, I probably want more of a mid value or a drier brush that's picking up the paint, so I get more of your mid value tone. Ooh, that's really dark. Okay. Now remember, I'm going to lift this out. I'll try dropping in some of the burnt sienna while it's still moving around before I lift it out. Maybe some lines like that. Okay, so the towel, the magic towel. Oh yeah, we need to do the splattering. Okay, we'll do splattering on the rocks in a second. Okay, so I've got it kind of zigzag. And you notice I'm moving the towel around just to lift up some lighter portions. I like that came out nice. And I'm going to go in with darker value in areas just so we'll move around a little bit. So the wet on wet really seems to be the trick. Okay. All right, so we're going to splatter on that. So we don't get on anything. Well, okay, let's do this. So we don't get it on any other portion of our painting. Towel would behave. Just going to go up in here. I'll just use my number 10. I'm going to get it wet, but I'm going to use a darker value of the neutral tint. Excuse me, of the Payne's Gray. I mean, you could use indigo on it too. So another trick I just heard today, someone was talking that they were saying if they, I really like the way that turned out. It came out really nice. Were concerned about the background and they were going to splatter. I'm going to try to, you can always go in with a wet brush real quick afterwards. And move some of your splatter around. The other cool thing you can do once you've splattered like this, and put this back down. This spritz. And then your splatters will move in the water. And you can pull them out if you want. Or you can just leave them. So the other thing that the woman was saying, if you were, say, wanting to maintain the background and it would still be the color, whatever color you had painted it, or if it was just plain paper, you would put a wet wash around your area that you didn't particularly want to get splatter on it because it's easy to pick up when it's wet. We've pretty much gone around it like that. You do need a free finger to be able to splatter well. So let's see what we can do here. Maybe a little weight. Here's my thumb drive. I can hold it down. So another thing you can do is you can spritz and then splatter. And once again, everything will move around. And let's see, we got that one up there. Let's see if we can move that out. Oh, it comes up nice. So there's another little trick. And I'm going to take my clean brush and pull some of this around a little bit. Let's try splattering down here. I'm not going to wet the element, the paper around it. I am just going to, just thinking about the brush. Okay, let's pick up some burnt umber. You actually want your brush to be really loaded with water and paint. It will splatter easier. And I'm getting it all over everything except for where I want it to go. Isn't that wonderful? So I'm just going to soften these out and then we'll be done.